tough, isn't it?
That's a big argument. Like abortion, that's a very universal argument. It's not a simple topic. That's abortion.
That's abortion.
It's something like
right there.
Right. It's something like euthanasia. You know what that is, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Mercy killing. So you sort of have.
Well, they mercy killings. That's what we call it. But euthanasia is actually where you kill somebody before their God-appointed time.
Well, see, now when you say God, you're going into faith. See, you're going to have two arguments. In the first place, a faith argument and a logical argument. See, God created your brain, didn't he? So you can bring logical premises. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
See, so like what they're doing, that may be a little too irrational. It may be something like that. It may something like that might be needed, population control or whatever, rape or whatever, but they may be going a little too far with it. Then that would be your argument. Hey, you're not supposed to go this far, but don't have it at all and all like that. That may not be the argument.
Yeah.
If somebody's raped, a lady's sick or something, you may have to do that. Or if you're going to do it for birth control or because of poverty or whatever. See, then those would be the arguments for logical premises you would bring with your brain that God created. You can't say, well, God is this and God is that. God's everything. When God created us, people would be carrying on like that, didn't he?
So,
answer the question. So
what would you say?
When God created people, he knew they'd be carrying on like that, didn't he?
Of course.
Well, then why did he create them? See, that's also another question or another topic.
Daddy, can I go with them?
So
where are you going?
What you want to start doing,
Okay.
what you want to start doing is examining your premise and see how rational, irrational it might be, and then you come up with some very basic arguments to challenge these people doing that. You know.
Do you think we don't have them?
Well, you need to present them.
Okay.
I haven't really heard of them.
Well, right. So what we do is we believe God.
Well, no, you're going into faith. You got to use your mind and come up with some kind of logical premise.
So here's the other thing is.
Faith is another. That's entirely another like.
Well, here's the thing that I take on faith.
Yeah, right.
Is that God said that my word, you send it forth and it will not return void.
That's faith, but your word, his words and all that's faith.
But your argument is to try to keep me from going into the faith realm.
Right, now my argument is that you got to deal with the logical reality that God created, which is your brain and your mind. That's an organ to bring forth logical realities.
Right.
And then the faith is also a reality.
I think logical arguments line up with godly truth.
Right.
That are logical.
Right, in some instances.
Yeah.
Not in all
So,
instances.
but where you start killing people is wrong.
Well, see,
and our conscience.
Well, no, God wouldn't let you say that.
What's that?
God wouldn't let you say that.
How do you know that?
Because you're using the language inappropriately.
How?
See what I'm saying? You said killing. That's not necessarily, you don't call that killing.
That's murder.
Do you call execution killing and murder?
It depends.
Do you call war killing and murder?
It depends.
That's right. So that depends. So it's the same thing. That's how God would do it. You got to use your brain to find out, and then what you can do that by talking to people like me, like seeing what the view is.
Yeah.
And then you
what
can
is
come
your
up
view?
with some real argument, view that it might be necessary in some instances that abortion.
What would be the necessary instance?
There you go, like rape, murder, not in some instances poverty.
Well, hold on, murder. You said murder. How would abortion be justified?
I didn't say murder.
You said rape, murder.
Oh, I didn't mean to say that, but rape and whatever, and incest and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's what they've been selling to us for a long time.
That's what they've been selling.
That's what they've been selling to keep it legal.
Yeah, right. So, like, what is your argument? You're like, when do you do this and when you don't?
I'm not going to be able. So I'm not going to be able to have that logical argument that you're looking for without crossing over into the faith. I have to be faithful to my God.
That's true, but you have to come to the conclusion. When do you do this and when you don't? You must face that point.
We say never.
You say never?
We say never.
God wouldn't agree with that. Now let's take it into a faith argument. Maybe God wouldn't agree with that.
He says he hates the. What's that?
You said never.
He said he hates the shedding of innocent blood.
Your argument is never. So maybe I would argue that maybe God won't agree with that.
He said he hates the shedding of innocent blood.
You said use the word never, so that's going to send us into a faith argument. I don't think God would agree with the word never. See, so now we're going to enter this faith argument.
If we're talking about innocent blood, never.
Right, huh?
Innocent blood, never.
Innocent blood.
Somebody who hasn't been justly punished for their crime that calls for the death. Now, what is the only time, according to Scripture, where you're allowed to be put to death within the will of God?
Right, now you got away from the topic of abortion.
No, it's all tied in. We're talking about killing.
Abortion is related to what you're talking about.
We're talking about killing. So the only time that you can legally kill somebody,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't be classified as murder,
Yeah,
is when a human being takes another human being's life
Right.
and they shed innocent blood. And it says, by man
Wait, now,
you shall
I
shed
got to follow you now when you're into this faith issues about innocent blood.
innocent blood, somebody who is not guilty of committing a crime that's worthy of death. The children inside their mother's wombs,
That's
whether
a
they're
nice
rape or
argument.
incest, doesn't
Right.
they've not committed any crime
Right,
worthy
that's
of
a
death.
nice argument. I had quite yeah, that's a nice argument. Now, that's a nice argument, what I'm trying to say. So you could bring that to your adversary.
We do
Now,
that.
you said not worthy. Let me have one of these.
Yep.
You said not worthy. hadn't heard that. What you said about what was not worthy?
The innocent blood, the
Yeah, the
innocent person
innocent
who has
blood.
not been convicted,
Right.
who has not been found worthy of death,
Right.
according to God's law.
Yeah,
And by
right.
God's law, he says, if man sheds another man's blood,
Right.
by man his blood shall be shed. For in the image of God he created